Hey there folks, Recon Trooper here, back with another video, and in this video I'm going to just be discussing what I would personally like to see as either the next LEGO game or just a future LEGO game. That's assuming LEGO games are still being made, because as we all know, LEGO Star Wars The Skywalker Saga is the last LEGO game that was made, and we have no news of any sort, of any capacity, as to if there is another LEGO game or not. But anyway, this is gonna just be my thoughts on what I'd like to see personally as a future LEGO game, if not the next one, if there will be a next one. But and before I get into it, make sure to drop a like, subscribe, and comment if you so desire. I mean, I'm not demanding it, or of course, I can't force you to do it. It's just simply me saying it. You're welcome to do it if you want. And also hope you enjoy the LEGO Star Wars and the LEGO Marvel gameplay in the background. And so, to start things off, I've been recently sort of been into this, not really the franchise as a whole, but just kind of the movies of it, and that is Sonic the Hedgehog. And there's a third movie coming out, of course, in December soon. Granted, we need a trailer first, otherwise nobody's really going to show up, because, you need to get the audience interested before you put a movie out. That's at least usually how it's supposed to go. And we have yet to get a trailer, so hopefully that is just around the bend. And hopefully they don't try to do what Infinity War did, where they show scenes that don't end up in the movie after all, and like, I think people to this day are still pretty sour, understandably so, about that whole Hulk scene in the Infinity War trailer that never actually was in the movie. And it was all part of a stunt to get the audience's attention, really. And, it's kind of, it's one thing to alter scenes to avoid spoiling something in the trailer, but it's another to just make scenes that you're just gonna cut out because, they're only for the trailer, and it's only to get the audience engaged. And, it's not a good idea to deceive the audience that way, but anyway, this isn't about Infinity War. And recently I've been, talking with fellow YouTuber and podcaster Franchise Fanatic. We've been discussing the next Sonic movie coming up, and in the last podcast, actually, you can go check that out. I briefly talk about just ideas I think would be cool for a LEGO Sonic game, and and I really think, they definitely could pull it off. Franchise has that LEGO Dimensions game that allows you to play as Sonic anyway. You can't play as anybody else, apparently. And you only have one area you can explore. And but the fact that they did that, really kind of opens the door to the possibility they could make a LEGO Sonic game as a whole, and have, of course, all the bring in the movies and even the Knuckles TV show. That would be awesome to see happen. Even have some characters that maybe aren't gonna show up even in the third movie, that are from the Sonic lore, because I've seen at least pictures of other characters. Like there's one that looks almost like a hedgehog that's silver, but is like his hair is like all over the place on his head, and some others, and whether they show up or not, I can't say, of course, because we haven't seen the movie, and B, we haven't even seen a trailer, so it's all up, it's all speculation, just like this video is really. I mean, it is just me wishful thinking and speculating, but but yeah, like bring in characters, even maybe, like bonus levels, sort of like in like a Marvel where they had all those Deadpool levels. Maybe bring in some bonus levels that are inspired by the Sonic games, but still play as Lego game levels. Because that's another thing, is that it would still play as a Lego game. It wouldn't be like just, like the typical Sonic doing loop-de-loops all from one side of a level to another side of the level the whole time, just Lego form. It would actually be just like all those other Lego games that we've played, at least anyone who has played, like there's a starting point, and then there's puzzles that you have to do and all sorts of stuff, and enemies, and having stuff like having that, I think, would be interesting, because I mean, granted, I understand Sonic's whole thing is about going fast and everything, and doing loop-de-loops and stuff like that could still definitely be in the game, for sure. Like being able to do loop-de-loops around, like maybe you need, like that's another thing, you need a Sonic as a character, like his ability, one of his abilities, of course, is his speed, just like the Flash or Quicksilver from other Lego games that, have been released in the past. And they could just, have Sonic. That's one of Sonic's abilities, is being able to use the loop-de-loops because he's so fast. He's fast enough to do it, And I know Knuckles and Tails and some others probably can do those things too in the games, in the Sonic games. But I don't know if they would actually be able to still do that or not, because, I mean, I know in Sonic 2, it seems like Tails and Knuckles can reach the same speed level as Sonic for whatever reason. Even though that's not their power, Tails' power is being able to, or abilities are being able to fly with his tails, obviously, and his smarts is another power he has, and that's, right there is an ability for Tails, to be able to like hack into computers or use his technology to, use, like his hologram maker thing. Maybe could be used for certain things, like maybe there's puzzles that require Tails to use the hologram to distract a guard, so that he can slip by, and that's a puzzle that only Tails can get through, that you need Tails for, or whatever. And Knuckles has his strength, that's his ability. But there's, speed isn't really their power, even though it looks like it in the games, because they basically do go as fast as Sonic in the games, and even in the movie at times when they're all running together in the last, in the Act 3 battle, you see them running at the same time or moving at the same speed, But, in actuality, of course, Sonic has got to be the one with the speed. Otherwise, it kind of makes it redundant to even give him the speed ability if everybody else can be as fast as him. It kind of defeats the purpose of what his specialty is. But anyway, so, but yeah, like Sonic could use loop-de-loops, and even maybe like small spaces, like in I think Lego Star Wars, the Skywalker Saga, there's those small spaces that you can use half of 3PO's body to go through. Or even, like there's the, in like Lego Marvel, there's Ant-Man, who can shrink and go into small spaces. And there's also those kind of trap doors that only small characters can go through in Lego Star Wars and Lego Pirates even. So like there's a whole bunch of things like that you could use Sonic for. When he could like roll up into a ball and go through those small areas. Knuckles, like I said, he has his super strength. He could, just like the Hulk in Lego Marvel games. Or I suppose there's even, I think in the Lego DC games as well, there's super strong characters also, like Superman, obviously. And they can, like, break through cracked walls, and that could be one of Knuckles' abilities. And so, like there's so much potential. And even another thing is having, Tom the Donut Lord from the movies. Maybe an ability of his could be to flash his badge to get into, areas that only police officers can get into. Just like he does in Sonic 1 when he has to get Sonic to the top of that building. And to get the rings. And, like, there's lots of potential there for a lot of character abilities, all sorts of character abilities and stuff. And I think even, I haven't seen really much of Shadow in terms of what he can actually do. I've only seen pictures of him, but based on pictures that I have seen, his shoes, I think, have rocket thrusters or something in them. And so it's another thing is he could be like, kind of be like R2, almost, maybe. He could maybe be like R2 in the Lego Star Wars games where he can sort of hover. Or if maybe they're meant for like thrusting forward at super speed or something. But that's something that Shadow could do in the game. And so, there's lots of potential for a Lego Sonic game. And, it wouldn't be as big as the Lego Star Wars, the Skywalker Saga game, obviously, because there would only, for one thing, it would only be 3 movies plus the Knuckles show. So that's 4 things total, not 9 things like in Lego Star Wars. And also, the character roster would probably be dwindled down quite a bit, even if they did add extras from just the Sonic lore as a whole. If they just added extra characters to fill it in a little more, it would still, at best, it would maybe be approximately the size of maybe like Lego Indiana Jones, like the first one, or even Lego Star Wars, the complete saga, but it definitely wouldn't be a massive thing. But you know what? And that's even with variants and stuff. But you know what? Sometimes we don't really need a massive roster. We just need a good roster. And I think it would be, personally, I think, especially with Sonic, I'm not so familiar with the lore as to know every single character and, stuff, plus all the movie characters, like the humans. But I think it would be interesting to see, it would be interesting to have a smaller roster for a change, while still maintaining a good amount of, options, obviously, because there would be variants, of course, like Sonic maybe with his those white shoes at the beginning of the first movie that he has before he's given his red shoes by that little girl later on. And that's another variant right there, the red shoe Sonic. And then maybe, Tails with a backpack and without. And maybe Donut Lord or Tom, whatever he would really be called in the game. Unless Donut Lord is just another variant he could be called. But, he would have both his police officer form, his police officer outfit variant. He would have his, the clothes he's wearing when he's taking Sonic all the way to San Francisco. And then also there's the clothes he was wearing in the second one, with in Hawaii. And there's also in the rowboat, so... there'd be numerous, and also let's not forget Dr. Robotnik. He's got, his regular his kind of introduction outfit. He's kind of like a man in black, almost looking guy, and then he goes from that to being, goes from that to being what we see him as later on when he's flying his egg pod, as it's called, with the goggles on his head, and he's got a red jacket on. And then it goes from that to being his bald self on the mushroom planet, and then it goes from that to being his more updated look when he returns to Earth and he gets his new outfit on, and so on. There's just a lot of potential, I think, for at least character variants, if not all characters. But I mean, it's something that Lego games are known for, is they're not just all different characters, but they're also character variants and skins. Because I mean, in Lego Star Wars, for instance, we've got all those clone troopers and stormtroopers, both First Order and the Empire and versions, and then there's of course sort of, I guess, spin-off stormtrooper type guys too, like the Sith troopers and so on and so forth. And so but also another thing that would be cool in a Sonic game is also the hubs, and be able to free roam around, Green Hills, just go, go to Sonic's cave, for instance, go from there all the way to the Wachowski house, or from there all the way to the, what's it called in Sonic 2, the Mean Bean, cafe, and, also go from there to maybe the police station, or like so many things, and that's just Green Hills, but also have other places like San Francisco and even Seattle from the first movie, or at the beginning when Sonic stops those robbers, but not in the best way he could have otherwise, which is of course what Sonic 2 is really all about, him becoming the hero that he's trying to be in the beginning. But anyway, there's also places that I'm sure, I haven't seen Knuckles yet, but I'm sure there's places in there that haven't appeared yet that don't appear in the movies and probably won't reappear in Sonic 3. And then of course there's stuff in Sonic 3 that are going to be introduced, including, well, actually it was still in Sonic 2, but there's also that sort of that chamber looking place, where, Shadow is in his cryo chamber. Spoiler alert if you haven't seen Sonic 2, or at least the mid-credit scene anyway. And Shadow's in that chamber coming out of the ground. Going in that place would be interesting. I actually hope that scene is going to be recycled and put in the third one, but more up to date, sort of like how the one with Tails was recycled from Sonic 1, but more updated, with Tails having a backpack on, and even his device, some of the buttons look different compared to in the mid-credit scene of Sonic 1. But yeah, seeing that Shadow scene from Sonic 2 but just kind of refurbished for Sonic 3, with the actual version of Shadow that we're getting, not the sort of reskinned version of Sonic apparently is what he is in that scene. But it would be interesting to go there, go to that spot, and also maybe have vehicles, of course. Like, I can't think of too many vehicles because Sonic doesn't really need a vehicle per se with his super speed, but at the same time, have like, obviously there could be the typical vehicles that I think a lot of Lego games have nowadays, where it's just like a regular car and a regular truck and a van and Jeep and all that. And then there's the more fancier ones that, are in the games. And, one could be like Dr. Robotnik's, semi-truck, that would be kind of cool to drive around in. I don't know if it would be pulling a trailer or not, but I mean, just the truck itself would be, I think, would be cool to drive. There's also his egg pod and his Eggmobile from the second one. And of course, there's the plane that Tails flies. That would be interesting to see. And and even maybe like a miniature version of that giant robot at the end of the second film, be kind of like a reskin version of the Hulkbuster armor from Lego Marvel, and it would just be, but it would be reskinned and look like the Robotnik robot, and I think that would definitely be an interesting thing to see and to even drive, Like, I'm not talking about the Hulkbuster from the first Lego Marvel. I'm talking about the one from, like, Lego Marvel 2, the one based off of Infinity War, or even the one in Avengers where you actually, he actually kind of jumps into the thing and then it closes in on your guy, whoever you're playing as. Well, actually, I guess it would be Iron Man, in that regard. And yeah, it just kind of closes in on him, and then you just walk around with this big, huge, suit, and could be similar to that, perhaps. Maybe, just so much potential, I think, for a Lego Sonic game, and again, it could very much play like a Lego game, while still adding elements of Sonic games to still give it that Sonic feel. But obviously, because it's a Lego game, it would have to have puzzles and stuff to do in the levels, so it wouldn't make sense to just be flying straight through the level, like in a typical Sonic game, and then you're just missing basically all these puzzles and stuff, But yeah, I think that would be kind of cool, and I don't know, maybe even have, like, I don't know if, like, the rings could even be maybe replace studs, or, maybe even the rings could play sort of a similar role, not the same role, just a similar role to, like, gold bricks in Lego games past, where there's little spots that you need a certain amount of gold bricks, and then you can build them into something, and of course the big one is when you get all the gold bricks, but something like that could be for the rings, where you need a certain amount of rings to be able to get into a place, and like, once you like, kind of like in the movies, once you have a certain amount of rings, then there's maybe like spots in the hub worlds that you build it into like a portal to go from that hub into another one, and Yeah, and that'd be a good way. Actually, that'd be a good idea for how you would fast travel, kind of travel between hub worlds, if you so wanted to. Go from Seattle to Green Hills to, Shadow's chamber or whatever to, I don't know, uh, uh, maybe San Francisco. Um, there's not a whole lot of places that I can think of. Granted, like I said, I haven't seen the Knuckles show yet. I plan on doing that once it's released in about a month's time. But yeah, I think that would be interesting concept though, just to be, collect rings to build portals that you then use to go through into other places. And actually, that, another place I forgot to mention is the Mushroom Planet. To be able to explore that place, why not? That would be an interesting place to explore in free roam. Maybe also have the island that Sonic grew up on, as a kid in the first movie before he has to get sent to Earth. I think that would be an interesting place to go and explore. I mean, granted, we only see snippets of it in the movie, but if if it was made into a fully explorable place, or mostly explorable place in a game, that would definitely be an interesting thing to see. And yeah, I think a Lego Sonic game really would be a pretty cool concept, really. There's lots of potential given, again, the having 3 movies and the Knuckles show to make it around, to use as kind of the story and stuff. And yeah, just being able to do that would be awesome. And being able to play play as, Shadow, or, go play as Knuckles and just explore places as well. Yeah, it would be, I think that definitely should be, I think, what the next Lego game or a future Lego game really should be. Anyway, that's, I think that would be a really cool thing to see happen. It's definitely I would definitely probably get it if that came to be, because it just it would be a new type of it would be like a new type of Sonic game while still maintaining familiar territories, so to speak, from Sonic games in the past, and adapting the movies into it, and the Knuckles show, of course, like I said. It's just lots and lots of potential for a Lego Sonic game. And and if they come up with future spin-offs, like maybe a show based off Shadow, that's assuming he doesn't, perish in the end of the third one. I don't think that will be the case, but hopefully that won't be the case, because that would be disappointing. Because I've without without giving potential spoilers for Lego for the third movie, even though there's nothing to really spoil right now because it's not out yet. But in case people are unaware of the story that it's based upon and don't want it all ruined, I'll just say that my research on Shadow definitely sounds like they could definitely expand on him in the future if they keep him around. So, and if they made a Shadow TV show or something, or if Knuckles actually gets a season 2, if it's not just a mini series and it gets a season 2, add those as like DLC or something. You know, it would just be a really, it would be a really interesting concept for sure, you know. And heck, you know what? Why not even as a bonus in the game? Why not even have the Lego Dimensions area thrown in there just for people that maybe like people like me who have no interest in getting Lego Dimensions, not even for Sonic, but are still would still like to at the same time like to see what that's all like, you know, exploring that one open world apparently that you get in the game, and it's the only one. And you know, just explore it, you know. So, and just as a bonus, you know, like there's no story to it or anything. You just go there, and maybe there's enemies around still, so that you're not just running around some silly, you know, place, you know, that's just all about running around. But have some enemies or, you know, stuff to interact with and everything. So, but anyway, yeah, so that's just my thoughts on the matter. And so, you know, I really hope that someday this Lego Sonic game does get made, because it would be, like I said, it's got a lot of potential and, you know, possibility for being made. You know, like really all the tools are there in the movies. All the, you know, character abilities and stuff are technically in the movies, even if some of them don't happen very often. You know, just knowing that they do happen is enough to inspire, you know, making that an ability for that character. So, but anyway, yeah, and so, yeah, I just wanted to share my thoughts is all about, and wishful thoughts, I should say, about what I think the next Lego game or future Lego game should be. And, you know, it's really got a lot of potential to it. It really does, you know. There's a lot of potential there. If only it just got made, you know, if whoever's making Lego games now, if anyone, you know, at this point, you know, there's Lego Sonic the Hedgehog for them to consider, you know, with the third movie coming out and all. You know, it's not something they should, you know, look past. So, but anyway, yeah, so I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and you know, don't take this literally or anything. Like I said, this is just me thinking about, you know, expressing my thoughts, my wishful thinking, and what I would like to see as another Lego game. And so, but yeah, so again, drop a like, comment, and subscribe if you so desire, and we'll see if I can get another video within the next month or two, because I'm trying to not do just podcasts, but it's getting kind of difficult to not just do podcasts right now. But anyway, yeah, so hope you guys enjoyed the video, and this is Recon Trooper signing off now. Later, folks.